In the bright light of day, with gentle winds tempering the warmth, an elderly woman named Alice made her way to the local grocery store, her 8-year-old grandson Oliver's small hand firmly clasped in hers. His youthful eyes sparkled with wonder as they navigated the towering aisles filled with products that rarely found their way to their modest home. Alice scrutinized each price tag meticulously, her selections deliberate and cautious. Their cart contained only fundamental necessities: a single bag of rice, 1 carton of milk, and a loaf of bread, basic items she was confident she could afford with her limited resources. Meanwhile, Oliver's attention gravitated toward the colorful packaging of confections and biscuits, his excitement palpable as they passed through these sections. As they traversed the cookie aisle, Alice hesitated momentarily, her gaze fixed on a particular package, chocolate cookies in distinctive blue and white packaging. The sight constricted her chest as memories of her daughter Emily flooded back. These were precisely the cookies Emily always purchased for Oliver before her sudden passing 2 years prior in a vehicular accident that devastated their family. Alice had scarcely had time to process her grief, compelled to remain strong for Oliver's sake. The promise she'd made to Emily echoed constantly in her consciousness, to care for Oliver and provide him happiness, even at the cost of her own well-being. "Grandma, these are the ones Mom used to get me. Can we get them?" Oliver inquired, his expression illuminated with joyful recollection. Alice felt emotion rise in her throat. Something in his expression made her hardship seem worthwhile, though she recognized her budget was already stretched thin. After brief hesitation, she gently placed the box in their cart. Emily's voice seemed to resonate in her mind, encouraging her to preserve Oliver's smile, regardless of personal sacrifice. "Of course, sweetheart," she responded with gentle warmth, concealing her internal concerns. Living on a modest pension with severely limited resources, every grocery excursion represented a delicate balancing act between essentials and small indulgences, between necessities and minor sparks of joy. Yet refusing Oliver's hopeful smile seemed impossible for Alice. She mentally tallied the coins in her possession as they approached the checkout, silently fearing insufficiency. She would do anything to maintain Oliver's happiness, but remained unprepared for the events about to unfold. Alice approached the cashier with cautious demeanor, striving to maintain composure. She carefully positioned her few items on the counter while Oliver, filled with excitement, held the cookie package with both hands. "These are the cookies Mom always used to buy for me," Oliver remarked cheerfully, looking up at his grandmother. Brad, the cashier, displayed visible fatigue and irritation. Glancing at Alice and her cart, his expression transformed noticeably upon seeing the small pouch of coins she extracted from her bag. He released an exaggerated sigh, ensuring those nearby noticed his impatience. "Coins, seriously? This isn't a bank, lady," he stated, crossing his arms. His tone carried unmistakable irritation that amplified Alice's discomfort. Visibly uneasy, she began counting her coins with trembling hands. Oliver glanced back and forth between his grandmother and the cashier, sensing the tension without fully comprehending the situation. Brad continued his commentary, utterly indifferent to its impact. "You couldn't count these at home before coming here and holding everyone up," he remarked, shaking his head while observing the growing customer line. "Folks, I hope you're comfortable. This is going to take forever." Murmurs circulated among waiting customers as Alice's face flushed with embarrassment. She attempted to accelerate her counting, but the pressure only intensified her hand tremors. "I'm sorry," she whispered, barely audible, continuing her count. Brad emitted a sarcastic laugh and launched another verbal assault. "Sorry doesn't cut it, lady. Maybe next time bring a card like normal people." A male customer in line attempted intervention. "Hey, that's unnecessary. Let her pay at her own pace." Brad responded with cynical expression, "You're welcome to come here and count these coins yourself, buddy. Meanwhile, I'll try to keep the line moving." Oliver gently tugged at Alice's sleeve, perceiving her distress. "It's okay, Grandma. Don't be sad," he whispered softly. Alice merely nodded, struggling to maintain composure while continuing to count her remaining coins. She soon realized she lacked sufficient funds for all items. Taking a deep breath and fighting tears, she looked at Oliver, still clutching the cookie package, and said with unsteady voice, "I think we'll leave the cookies. Just the other items, please." Understanding the situation, Oliver forced a smile in an attempt to alleviate tension. "It's okay, Grandma. I wasn't really in the mood for cookies anyway," he responded, his small voice filled with tenderness. Alice's heart fractured. Oliver's words represented an effort to protect her feelings, but she recognized his sacrifice. Brad seized the cookies disdainfully and set them aside. "Finally," he remarked, rolling his eyes. "Maybe now we can finish this line." Looking at customers behind Alice, he added with sarcastic smile, "Thanks for your patience, folks. Not everyone knows how to shop properly." Several muffled laughs echoed through the line, while others remained silent, visibly uncomfortable with the unfolding scene. Brad added, ostensibly addressing Alice but clearly intending his words for everyone, "It would be so much easier for everyone if people were a little more prepared when they come shopping." Alice attempted to ignore his commentary, continuing to count her coins with increasingly shaking fingers. Oliver held her hand tightly, attempting to provide comfort. Brad, noticing her reaction, couldn't resist one final barb, "This isn't charity, ma'am. If you can't pay, maybe you should think twice before grabbing things you can't afford." At that precise moment, a tall man in a black jacket and dark sunglasses stepped forward from the line. He slowly removed his eyewear, revealing an intensely serious gaze. His presence commanded immediate attention. "That's enough," he stated, his deep voice resonating throughout the store. His calm yet authoritative tone silenced the entire line. All eyes turned toward him, including Brad's, who suddenly seemed to realize his behavior had been witnessed. As Alice struggled to complete her coin counting, Brad maintained his sarcastic commentary. "Maybe it'd be easier if she came back another day when she has actual money," he remarked, glancing expectantly at customers behind her. "After all, no one here has all day." Alice kept her head lowered, offering no response, while Oliver clutched the cookie package tighter, his wide eyes darting between Brad and his grandmother, sensing wrongness but uncertain how to help. "Seriously, ma'am," Brad continued, his tone increasingly sharp. "Do you think you have unlimited time here? Other people are waiting to pay. If you can't afford everything, maybe you shouldn't take so much." The atmospheric tension was palpable. Some customers murmured disapproval of Brad's conduct, while others watched uncomfortably. That's when the tall man in black jacket and sunglasses stepped forward. He had been observing the scene intently, his penetrating gaze fixed on Brad. Following another sarcastic comment from Brad, the man finally spoke, "Do you always treat your customers like this, or is today just a special occasion?" His voice was deep yet measured, each word carefully articulated. Brad looked up, surprised by the interruption. "And who are you exactly?" "Her lawyer," he scoffed, attempting to maintain situational control. The man slowly removed his sunglasses, revealing a serious, determined expression. His presence was commanding, though Brad appeared not to recognize him. "No," the man replied firmly. "Just someone who doesn't tolerate disrespect." The customer murmurs intensified. Some began recognizing the intervener, but Brad remained oblivious. He rolled his eyes dismissively. "Look, sir, this isn't disrespect. I'm just trying to speed things up. This lady is holding up the line with her sack of coins." "You think respect is optional in your job?" the man inquired, tilting his head slightly. "She's paying just like everyone else. What makes you think you have the right to treat her this way?" Brad faltered momentarily before regaining his defensive posture. "Sir, I'm just saying it's not fair to the other customers. Everyone here is in a hurry." "Fair?" the man repeated with subtle smile. "What's not fair is making a grandmother and her grandson feel humiliated just because you're impatient. Maybe you should rethink what fairness really means. Brad opened his mouth to retort, but line murmurs interrupted him. Wait, is that TomCruise? Someone whispered audibly enough to attract attention. Brad's eyes widened in shock, his expression transforming from arrogance to disbelief. TomCruise, he stammered. Tom stepped closer, leaning slightly toward Brad. That's right, and now you know who's asking you to treat people with dignity. Tom turned toward Alice and Oliver, his expression softening. Glancing at the cookies in Oliver's hands, he said, "These cookies look delicious. I think they should definitely go home with you today." Alice attempted to speak, but words failed her. She could only nod, overwhelmed by emotion. Tom then returned his attention to Brad and requested, "Cancel this transaction for me. It must take a long time to void a purchase, right?" Brad, still flustered, responded hesitantly. "Well, yeah, I mean, it depends, but it can take some time." "That's a shame," Tom remarked with calm smile, "because we're going to cancel this purchase now." Brad looked confused. "Cancel? But you just paid." Tom shrugged. "I did, but I have a better idea. Let's make another purchase, a real one. Alice and Oliver deserve much more than this, and you, Brad, can use the time to reflect on how you treat people." Turning back to Alice and Oliver, Tom smiled warmly. "Let's grab another cart and do a proper shopping trip. I want you to pick out everything you really need. And Oliver, you can pick out some toys too." Alice shook her head, her voice trembling. "I can't accept this. It's too much." Tom gently took her hand and said softly, "You've done so much for him. Now it's my turn to help." Sometimes accepting help is the hardest and most courageous thing we can do. Oliver gazed up at Alice with eager expression. "Can we, Grandma? Please?" She inhaled deeply and nodded. "Thank you. Truly, from the bottom of my heart." Tom retrieved a cart and began guiding them through the aisles. Alice hesitated with each item, but Tom encouraged her, "Take what you need, don't worry about the price. Let's make sure you and Oliver are set for a while." Oliver, grinning more broadly than he had in months, indicated toys and treats. Tom laughed and said, "If your grandma says yes, it goes in the cart." As their cart filled, Tom addressed Brad one final time, "Remember, Brad, kindness is the one thing that truly changes the world. Think about that while you void that transaction." Customers observed the unfolding scene, many visibly moved and inspired by Tom's generosity. Alice held Tom's hand tightly while Oliver grasped the now full cart of groceries. "Let's pay now," Tom said, taking charge at checkout. This time, he personally managed the transaction, ensuring smooth completion. Tom guided Alice and Oliver to the checkout counter, where a cart brimming with groceries, clothing, toys, and essentials awaited processing. Oliver, noticeably more cheerful, held a small toy truck carefully, as if disbelieving it was truly his. "Let's pay for all this," Tom calmly instructed the new cashier, Brad having been reassigned to stockroom reorganization. The new cashier, visibly affected by the scene, expeditiously completed the transaction. Alice, eyes glistening with tears, held Tom's arm, regarding him with mingled gratitude and disbelief. "This is too much, Tom. I'll never be able to repay you for this." Tom looked at her warmly. "It's not about repayment. It's about helping when we can. You've done so much for Oliver. Now it's my turn to give something back." Store customers began applauding, some shouting encouragement. "This is incredible. He's not just a movie star, he's a role model. Bravo, Tom." An elderly woman approached Alice, taking her hand gently. "My dear, you deserve this. What a beautiful gesture he's made. Take good care of that boy, and remember, you're never alone." Alice thanked her, still emotional, while Oliver regarded Tom with visible admiration. "Thank you, sir. You're like a real-life hero," he said. Tom knelt to Oliver's eye level, smiling as he replied, "You know, Oliver, real heroes are the ones who take care of the people they love, just like your grandma does for you every day." As events unfolded, Brad, observing from a distance, finally summoned courage to approach. Visibly embarrassed and struggling for words, he said, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you like that. I was wrong." Tom regarded him momentarily, his gaze without judgment. With calm tone, he responded, "You don't need to know someone's story to treat them with respect. Kindness is a choice, Brad, and we all have the power to make it. Use this moment to be better." Brad lowered his head, clearly affected by the response, and returned to the stockroom, silently pledging personal improvement. In subsequent days, Alice continued processing these extraordinary events. While organizing groceries with Oliver at home, her telephone rang unexpectedly. "Hello," Alice answered, her voice reflecting mild apprehension. "Hi, Alice, this is Tom," the distinctive voice replied. Alice nearly dropped the receiver. "Tom. I didn't expect to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. I called because I wanted to share something. I've spoken to some people, and we've decided to do more for you and Oliver. I want to fund his education. He'll have access to the best opportunities we can provide." Alice fell momentarily silent, absorbing his words. "This is unbelievable. I don't even know how to thank you." "There's no need to thank me," Tom replied warmly. "Just keep being the amazing grandmother you already are." Meanwhile, the story of Tom and Alice rapidly proliferated across internet platforms. A customer had recorded Tom's intervention, and the video quickly went viral. Thousands of supportive comments flooded social media. "This is the kind of example the world needs. TomCruise is an angel on earth. This reminds me to be kinder in my daily life." The grocery store also implemented changes. Inspired by the story's impact, the manager announced new employee training focusing on empathy and customer respect. Brad, central to the incident, volunteered to lead training sessions, determined to make amends. He also sought Alice personally to apologize again, this time with genuine sincerity. "I didn't know what you were going through. That's no excuse, but I want you to know I'm working to be a better person." Alice accepted his apology, touched by his humility. Several weeks later, Alice and Oliver visited a local park. Oliver played with a new soccer ball selected during their shopping expedition, running joyfully across the grass. Alice observed from a bench with profound contentment, experiencing serenity long absent from her life. As she watched Oliver, a black vehicle parked nearby. Tom emerged, casually dressed and carrying a small package. "Hi, Alice. I thought you and Oliver might like this," he said, presenting the package. Inside were framed photographs capturing Alice and Oliver smiling during their store visit, accompanied by a message, "To remind you that kindness always wins." Alice embraced him, overwhelmed by emotion. "You didn't just change our lives, Tom. You gave us hope." Tom smiled in response, "You've inspired me just as much as I hope I've inspired you. Keep being incredible." Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoy this video, and learned a lesson. I would be grateful for your likes. Also don't forget to subscribe and comment on the video. See you soon.